Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 10 out of Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me. And for this video, I'm going to be covering one of the more disturbing videos that I bring onto this channel. As y'all can see by the title, there's not really any other way to describe this, and we're just going to jump right into it. Now, I cover cases from rap beefs to prison stabbings. And every now and then, I find a case dark enough to make my stomach turn, coming from the perspective of a father of a 3-year-old girl. January 9th, 2021 at approximately 1:30 a.m., 911 dispatch received a call from a parent within the village of Albany that his daughter, a juvenile in her early teens, gave birth in the bathtub of the home 4 days prior. The father of the infant, a 16-year-old named Logan, had taken the baby, and the child had not been seen since. Deputies made contact with the father, Logan KRUCKENBURG-ANDERSON, who told deputies that he'd given the child to a friend named Tyler the same day the baby was born and hadn't seen the baby since. Logan said he didn't know Tyler's last name or phone number. He was from Broadhead, but Logan was unsure of where exactly. They met at a park west of the river in Albany, where Logan gave him $60 to take the baby to an adoption agency. Logan stated he didn't know which agency the baby would be taken to. He said Tyler was driving a gray Chevy Equinox at the time, but couldn't recall the license plate. He said they'd met through Snapchat on the quick add feature, and they'd only spoke through the app. He tried to call Tyler, but Tyler had since blocked him on Snapchat. He described Tyler as a heavy-set male, around 5 foot 4 inches tall, dark hair, dark complexion, and 22 or 23 years old. The mother of the child, only named as witness number 2 in the affidavit, confirmed to detectives she'd given birth January 5th around 9 a.m. It was a baby girl, dark hair, blue eyes, and she named her Harper. She said Logan came to her house and it was decided that they couldn't keep the infant child, and they decided they needed to do something to not have the child in their life. They discussed several options like dropping the baby off at a nearby fire department or transporting the child and dropping her off at an adoption place. That's when Logan said he'd meet with a friend named Tyler to take the baby to an adoption agency. As Logan was being interviewed, he described being present with the infant at the mother's house. She was crying, and he placed her inside of a backpack before leaving, then walking several blocks back to his own mother's house. While there, he placed the infant girl in a bigger backpack, then left once again. Cries could be heard coming from inside of the backpack, so Logan bounced on his heels in an attempt to soothe her before walking into a wooden area of Albany. A short distance into the woods, Logan placed the naked infant into a small snow-covered area inside of a fallen tree, where she began to cry once again. He told investigators he'd covered her body in snow, then walked away. And as he walked away, her muffled cries could still be heard, which caused him to emotionally break down, falling to his knees as he now cried himself. But instead of saving baby Harper, he left her alone, buried in the snow, knowing that she'd likely die being exposed to the harsh winter elements. Logan directed investigators to the location of where he left her, and it's exactly where her body was found. But the evidence was inconsistent with the story told. A witness crime lab employee observed a gunshot wound to baby Harper's forehead, a spent shell casing located just to the right of her body. After presenting the newfound evidence to Logan, he further admitted to shooting the baby twice in the head with a handgun after placing her in the tree. A second shell casing consistent with the first was found inside of the backpack used to transport the baby. 2 fired projectiles were found in the ground consistent with the shell casing located. The autopsy performed confirmed this was a firearm homicide to a live-born infant. A male juvenile in his late teens later contacted law enforcement providing a firearm that he said Logan had gave him January 8th, and the firearm caliber was consistent with the shell casings left at the scene. 16-year-old Logan was charged as an adult with first-degree intentional homicide and moving, hiding, or burying the corpse of a child. At this time, He's being held on $1 million bond and has a preliminary hearing this month. Now, first quarter, fuck this kid. And I'm gonna give you every reason why I say that. He says he has an emotional breakdown, right? Because he heard her crying. Obviously, that's a made up bullshit story. You didn't have any emotional fucking breakdown. You try to seem like you have some form of sympathy. It's bullshit. You brought a gun with you with the intention of shooting the child before it even happened. Before you took her to those woods, when you put her in the backpack, you put the gun in the backpack, right? So you already had the intention of killing her. You didn't have any fucking sympathy. And if you're able to lie about all of this and come up with this entire story of Tyler and this and that, well, this kid folded. He knew his story was bullshit. He knew he had a big fucking case, and he folded and ended up telling them everything. I don't want to hear about a psych plea. I don't want to hear about his mental health and all this other fuck shit that parents come up with when their kids kill people. I don't want to hear none of that shit. He's getting charged as an adult. Punish him as an adult. And if the state of Wisconsin is unable to handle due punishment, send his ass to Florida where he can get fucked with a broomstick on a daily fucking basis, because the jits down there ain't gonna play with him. Now, for the female, the mother, charge her ass too. Why is she free from this shit? Her father, whatever, found out she had a baby 4 days later. What the fuck are you doing as a parent that you can't realize your daughter's fucking pregnant? Because when my BM was pregnant, there was some big hormonal fucking changes. And for any fathers out there, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. So how can you as a father not know your daughter is pregnant? I'm not saying charge her with the murder, because obviously she didn't know his intentions on killing the kid. But what the fuck? She's innocent in this fucking case? And you're gonna have people that say, you know, the brain isn't fully formed at a young age, this and that. Okay, I understand that, right? But I also understand that while I was inside a prison, county jail, juvenile, when I'm around white boys, little soft motherfuckers that ain't really about that street shit, but they find themselves incarcerated, they try to play crazy. Especially when they have a crazy case like shooting an infant in the fucking head twice, right? So they go in there and they don't play the victim like they do when they go to court. They try to play like, oh, I'm crazy. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Da da da. As if that's going to be used to intimidate others or be used as a way of keeping them safe now that they're around some actual gangsters, some street dudes, some whatever, gangbangers, etc., right? You're incarcerated and no one's gonna protect you in there. People are gonna wanna fuck you up. So they have the conscious ability to try to play off what they did and act like they're savage, crazy, etc. They have the ability to have an emotional breakdown in the made up story that they give, and they have the ability to put a gun to an infant's head and pull the trigger. I don't believe there should be any sympathy in this case at all. That's my personal opinion. I'm entitled to it, and y'all can be entitled to whatever decision that y'all make. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel that his mental health, which I'm sure they're gonna say he was born half retarded or he's fucking depressed or whatever, because all white kids that get in trouble have these issues apparently. Whatever excuse is given, well, you pay his $1 million bond then. And when he's free, let him come live with you and babysit your kids. You know what I mean? Don't bring him around mine. Don't bring him over here. You take that fucking responsibility if you're quick to just stand up and defend this kid and the actions that he committed. But me personally, I feel like it should be more than just him being punished for something like this. I don't think the girlfriend is completely innocent. I mean, you have some form of responsibility as a parent, even though you didn't want to have your kid and you had 9 months to say, hey, I want a fucking abortion. And that is why I honestly believe abortion should be allowed. People should have the right to choose, so stupid ass shit like this doesn't fucking happen. And for her father, if he was actually aware that she was pregnant, she had a belly and the baby goes missing, I don't see how that wouldn't be some form of neglect of a child if you're not paying attention to your own kid that just had a fucking kid and now that kid is missing. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know if I'm just being a little bit too personal thinking of my own daughter as this case plays out. And you know, it's things like this that make me wish I wasn't even focused on gangbanging in prison. And I was more zoned in on the people inside of prison that had charges like this. I wasn't a father when I went to prison, but I would imagine I would feel a lot different being around certain people with the experience of being a father that I have now. Especially if I found out that some kid did some shit like that. But hey, it's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me. Till next time.